Hi everyone. We are now in module number 6. This week I think we're going to have learn some interesting things about groups that have been in the media since 9/11, and I'm thinking in particular of Muslims and Arabs, more specifically Muslim Americans and Arab Americans. One of the things you will learn this week that I believe you'll find pretty interesting is that Muslims and Arabs are not one and the same. Most Muslims are not Arabs. In fact, the country with the largest Muslim population is not even a Middle Eastern country. It's Indonesia. And many Arabs are Christians. So we're going to learn to differentiate between these two groups. And unfortunately, there are a lot of misperceptions regarding these groups and what religions they follow, what values they hold. So I hope we'll be able to clear some of that up. We'll look at the concept of Islamophobia, which is the fear of Islam. I think many Americans forget that until 9/11, or perhaps prior to the World Trade Center bombing, Muslims in this country and Christians got along just fine. Muslims have been in the New World since the 16th century, so they are not new to the American colonies or to this country. But a number of things have happened, chiefly perpetrated by a small minority of Muslims that have created misperceptions that really distort what Islam is about and what most Muslims in this country believe. And in fact, what most Muslims around the world believe. Most of the victims of radical Islamic terrorism are actually other Muslims, not Christians. So we'll have a chance to look at that. This week we're also going to look at Asian Americans, and Asian American is a broad category that encompasses, as you will see, people from a number of different countries. And again, lots of misperceptions regarding Asian Americans. Some of the misperceptions are actually positive stereotypes, such as the so-called model minority idea. And that idea is basically that Asian students are very, very smart in school, academic matters, do much better than Caucasian students. We'll have a chance to look at that. There are potentially damaging consequences of positive stereotypes as well as negative stereotypes. We usually are thinking about the negative consequences of stereotypes when we're talking about stereotyping, but there are some pretty significant negative consequences as well. So we will learn about that in the course of our discussion. We'll also look at some of the negative experiences that Asian Americans have encountered in their immigration history, like immigrants from other countries, as we go through this week. Next week, we'll be looking in more detail at Japanese Americans and at Chinese Americans. But this week, we'll be looking at a little bit about Japanese Americans and Chinese Americans, but more about other countries that receive less attention, immigrants from other Asian countries that receive less attention and are a smaller percentage of the Asian American population. So I think this is going to be an informative week that hopefully will lay bare some of the misperceptions that unfortunately are carried and repeated by the media and that compromise our ability to really understand the contributions that these populations have made and continue to make to our society. And unfortunately, once again, we always have to go beyond what the media gives us. The media, with few exceptions, exists in order to generate profits, and the way you generate profits is by having listeners and readers and viewers. And of course, as the old saying goes, if it bleeds, it leads. In other words, sensational stories, spectacular stories, those are the ones that tend to get most of the press. We see this in other areas. When juveniles have a good day and don't commit crime, don't get in trouble, that never makes the news. When they stick up a store or steal a car, of course, then it makes the news and gives a distorted perception of all juveniles. So we have to be on our toes in evaluating the information we get from the media, and I think a lot of the material we'll cover this week will help you in that. So, all right, so we are climbing toward the end of the term, and I hope everyone is working on their paper projects. As always, if you have any questions about the papers, the instructions for the papers, or anything else, just don't hesitate to send me a message or give me a call, and I'll be happy to help you. I want everyone to do a good job on those final papers because they're worth a significant number of points in the course. So anyway, everyone have a good week, and I will see you in the discussion.